everything set up. So pretty much the plan for today is this. We have news at 10, so either there's some sort of structure that develops really quickly in the first 5 minutes, which I don't think so today, or the other scenario is we kind of see the move happen after 10. We obviously had a big sell-off, not really big, but we had a move lower during London, just ahead of the New York session. I mean, it is relatively big in terms, it's like 50 points, 50, 60 points. So it's a decent move for ES. Typically, you'll see that have a move in NQ. So it just tells you the overall volatility is bigger. So based on that, sizing goes down a little bit for sure. And we just, play it safe, play it smart. Go over some levels real quick. So we can start with the 4 hour for this. Look at the 4 hour chart. We had essentially both the daily and the 4 hour have a gap right here. So looking for that level to get inverted is pretty important, I would say, for today. Based on, overall trend and everything that we're looking at, it's in a clear downtrend. But we're at that point where we might potentially start to see some sort of accumulation base. And the idea would be to see a move higher. But what we've been given so far is just these down candles. So overnight selling, the question is whether or not we hold this area. There's also this little 4 hour gap right here. So when we're looking at everything, we have the gap from back here on the daily, and then there's also a 4 hour gap right here. Whether or not we hold that is, yet to be known. We have to honestly just kind of wait for price to develop. Right here, so we have this level as well, right at the bottom of that. You also have a bullish gap here in addition. So there's a couple levels kind of stacked on top of each other. It could get pretty messy if you focus too much on everything, but to keep a couple levels in mind, the idea is you don't want this pre-New York low to get broken, ideally. I mean, it can, right? But ideally, you want to see this kind of hold into the open. And then from there, you could kind of decide whether or not you want to engage. So this right here down, if we look at the 15, this low right here is higher than the NQ low if you compare the two. And then YM's about the same. Yeah, YM's probably the strongest of the three if you compare the recent swing lows. But I think I'll be focusing on ES today. So you see this right here, this right here. So this will be the higher low. Then if you look at NQ, you can see that it is in fact a lower low right there. So that's just using the 15-minute to kind of determine a bias. Not even a bias, but just how to differentiate between the index, the different indices. It's pretty clear, strong move lower, a weak rally up, and then just a lot of lethargic action. So I don't expect this to immediately be like, can it? Sure, but I don't have a lot of confirmation or a lot of even indication that's going to move. It could just potentially chop, or path of least resistance might just be here. So those are just a couple thoughts I have. How do I want to trade this? Well, I guess we'll have to see, right? Got basically 6 minutes till the open, so be looking at this into the open and then kind of assess the game plan from there. But overall, this is a good day to be patient. News can actually give a lot of structure to us, so it's not ever a bad idea to just wait for news, but unless something really clear comes up, that'll be the game plan. You got to remember, after FOMC, we had a big push higher, and then we've pretty much given it back. So does that mean that pretty much the sentiment from that bullish move or that move higher has been undone? Who knows? Price moves higher on these news events based on a million different factors. Is it genuine buying, or is it just simply just squeezing people out of a position to then continue lower? Really depends. Really depends how you want to look at it. But yeah, overall game plan is going to be simple. Today would be a good day to kind of wait for an opening range, but we'll see. If it just wants to immediately sell, then that probably won't be my trade. But yeah, I will be looking for some sort of range to build, just based on the fact that we had a pretty solid sell-off during London. I think some sort of consolidation makes sense. So wait for the range, look for some sort of manipulation of that range, and then potentially target something like the daily open at like, yeah, 731. Yeah, but if we look at the daily, this is something that I was noting yesterday, honestly, was the fact that we had that, what is this high right here? The fact that we had this high right here, I'll annotate, for a potential like box setup, if that makes sense. So the idea would be if you have a high and then you sweep that high, you would look at this level as like a reclaim of that initial high. So it stayed underneath, and then that's where you get that rejection. However, that doesn't really do anything for us in terms of taking a trade because, well, I'm not awake at that time. Well, yeah, I don't think I'm awake at that time. Yeah, I'm not up. I'm not up. It's like the middle of the night when it starts to see some sort of sell off from midnight open. Yeah. So this is a trade that I can't take. However, if we're aware of this setup, the reason you call it the box is because if you look at this as a box and then you get that little stab above, then you could look to trade to the other side. So that's the potential counter bias. Like that's a setup that's opposite to what I was initially thinking. But I mean, the chart is the chart. You know, you can't really argue with it. I don't know if it's going to be strong enough to break through this 4-hour or daily inverse. I don't know. But that's why I'm willing to be patient, because I don't see anything that just jumps off the charts at me. You can take any setup you want, but if you take the ones that are really obvious to you and you focus on those like mainly, your trading will be a lot more consistent. So there's people who will want to just short everything, jump in immediately, and that's fine. It'll work for now, but most of the time, go through like 4 or 5 months of pretty much any year, and you'll see that that's not a consistently profitable opening strategy. It's more often you'll be more consistent more often if you just focus on high probability setups rather than chasing momentum. Momentum never ends well in the index. But that's the problem with these markets. They're super out of balance. So a lot of people get conditioned to chase momentum, and then that will eventually just stop on a dime. 19,706. I mean, it's probably the same equal 4-hour level that I'm looking at ES. So if we're talking about micro NQ, is it 19,700? What did you say? 607? 656? $706? Yeah, I mean, what? Just a low? I mean, if I'm looking for downside levels, I would be interested in some of these lows as well. What, this one right here? Is that it? Yeah, swing low. Wow. Yeah. Of course that's your downside level. Of course it is. It doesn't mean I think it's going to trade there immediately. I don't have an entry for that. But again, focusing on ES for today, pretty much. ES draw on liquidity, I feel like it's almost stronger down here. 565 150. They're like equal. They're equal lows essentially. But Yeah, it's not going to be my trade off the open. I think anyone who tries to just short this off the open is just going to get blown up. So that's just my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100% want to stay patient. Yeah, prior day lows. Yeah, somewhere around there. Question is, do we break this pre-market low? I don't know. I have a feeling like today is going to kind of, I don't think it'll be super easy off the open. Yeah, this low on NQ is ran, but not ES. So for sure. Then YM too. YM made a higher low as well. So there's that little H that we're talking about. If this is the path of least resistance, I mean, it seems like it, right? Seems like it. But I don't feel like it's going to be just that easy. I don't feel like it'll just immediately sell. It's way too common for the index to not do that kind of thing that I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Do I need to enter right before the bell? No. There's no reason to. I don't need to. Maybe someone does, but I don't need that trade. I can just wait. Because you know what the market normally does at the open? Whip. Either way. Like most days. So if you're chasing this low, you know how many times on stream someone's been like, I need a short into this. I'm like, it's not going to happen on the open, and then it'll just leave like this little 3-point distance, and it's just like, yeah, it's not going to give it to you most of the time. It just won't. If you buy extensions all the time or short extensions all the time, you're going to get stopped out pretty quick because the market is very jagged. Nothing about this says smooth sailing. And this is no exception. It'll inverse right here. It'll change in state, if you will, maybe, right? Back to VWAP. So we'll see. Make sure I have the right VWAP, yeah. I don't even necessarily want to get in this, honestly. It might run, but we'll see what the next couple candles look like. At 12 seconds, you're creating this huge initial gap after, yeah, just forming a higher low, essentially. So you get this big area right here. You have this 5-minute. So you want to see what this candle is going to do. If it just starts running, there's nothing I could do with it. You know, obviously I'm not going to be in this yet. You have all these right here. These are like equal highs. Mark these out in like green. You can't even see it. Yeah, see, this is a trade I can't do anything with. It's like running too quick. But you do have this level right here, so if it goes from here to here, that's an easy day for someone whoever's in it, right? It's not me. But yeah, definitely not short. Not shorting the open. Oh, it must go lower because there's a swing low. There's swing highs too. It's a range. It's a range. It could go either way. So now just monitor for some sort of pullback. ES, yeah. NQ's stronger, it looks like. What kinda. NQ's breaking the highs, so that's actually important to kind of keep in mind. NQ has broke the pre-market highs. ES is at, or no, NQ is at the new week opening gap, or at least a new week opening gap. So we'll see if this wants to pull back. You know, obviously you're starting to get some inversions right here. So you have this gap right here. I'd really be interested to see if this can give a little pullback, and then we could go back to like the 57.25 or 57.31 even. Gotta watch NQ closely. So yeah, you get the little test right here. If we could stab a little lower, that might be okay. 5-minute closure right here. So wait for the new candle to open, wait for the wick. And then if we can potentially form a low in this area, it could be decent. Now that we have more information. So 3 points. What's the stop down here? 5 points. I think that might be it. Oh well, we'll see. Just give it a little bit more time. I don't want to just jump in. I don't even think this one tested the gap. Yeah, this stuff is kind of annoying if it doesn't like test the gap, but give it a couple minutes. Or it goes higher, you know? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, it's not uncommon for the first move to get faded. However, like, I don't feel like it's revolutionary to just keep saying price is going to go lower. It's only been doing that for months. So yeah, we'll keep a closer eye on NQ. I have it on my upper screen up here, but I don't necessarily think we're just going to sell off. I don't think so. And that's me personally. I do not believe so. Me. So what is the 4 hour starting to do? Are we starting to validate this as a low, right? I'll tell you this, it doesn't exactly look the strongest in terms of how it's moving. So if you're watching it, you got to pay attention to like upper wicks, especially looking at NQ. However, I don't feel like this is necessarily going to immediately go lower. There's no bottom wick or no top wick here, no top wick here. Like, are we just going to sell? It's just going to be black bars down. It's normally not the case. Normally there's a wick. So when you see that type of stuff, it will tend to trade back to that point. So again, none of it matters unless there's an entry for us. I guess this is now ES, but I'm not inclined to just jump in just yet. Try to give it one more candle. It's not rejecting VWAP's a little higher. Watch NQ. Yeah, let me watch all three. Just pulling back a little. This is not my favorite. Could work, but again, that wick. So 5 minute. 5 minute could be better. Let's try giving it a couple more candles. I don't feel like buying this just yet. So I'm going to wait until, I don't know, 9:45 or something. If I can see something by 9:45, I might take it. But if I don't see anything by 9:45, I'll just wait until 10 a.m. Because this right here looks like it is rounding over to me. Based on what I'm seeing so far, it does not look super strong. It doesn't look like this is going to be an order block right off the bat. There's not really a definitive swing point set. Yes, there's 3 candles, but there's not like a long wick, or there's no characteristics here other than this is kind of just topping out. That's all I see. It's kind of just, it pushed, kind of folds, the wick's up to the upside. So it's not the strongest signal I've ever seen. Based on that alone, I'll just wait because, look at the 5 minute as well. With 30 seconds left, this could be your inside bar, then it could roll over. So I think it's just better to wait a little bit. It is nice though with the inversion right here. I do like that aspect. Inversion plus the gap. So those 2 elements look great. However, this doesn't look too amazing. 5 seconds on the 5 minute candle. Is it going to close above prior bar? We'll see. Almost, right? Just about. NQ is at VWAP, so that's also important to mention because, obviously you can start to see some sort of retracement at that point. It's not unheard of, right? It can happen, doesn't have to do anything, but pretty common. Pretty common. You'll see a rally like that get faded there. So yeah, so far we are not missing anything by not being in this trade. There's been no movement. It's just been sideways for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 minutes. So that was something I was also looking at. It's like when you have an area of interest, kind of like yesterday, right? YM, it tested that fair value gap on the 30-second, and then it gave you the same entry like 5, 6 minutes later. So how often does that happen? How often are you given the same entry on a level? If it happens somewhat often, then maybe it's best to kind of wait for that. And that's kind of what the whole benefit of doing any sort of back testing is. Start to evaluate, what does it actually mean for a setup to be ready to go? Just because it tests a level, is it like 80% of the time it goes on the first test? Or is it more like 50 or 40%? Because if that's the case, you could play a different game by saying, hey, an extra confirmation of mine, we'll be waiting for that second test. Then, obviously weigh that against the idea of, if it tested again, is it going to fail, and how likely does that, or how often does that happen? But there's more than just looking for a level and executing. You have to be able to refine your risk versus this stuff. That's one of the main things that when I was on the podcast last week, that's what we were talking about. It's more than just, level, buy it. That's what a lot of traders get wrong. It's a flawed perspective. We can actually refine our ability to read price. Understand that this doesn't look too hot. So even if it does work, it doesn't look too amazing. So I'm not going to say, you know what, I'm really confident in this and pretend like I don't see this like not moving that well just because there's a level. If I do that, I'm going to consistently be blind to potential reversals in the market. Nothing about this 5-minute looks amazing. It's not like, wow, I really want to be in this trade. Maybe if it comes down and comes back into that 5-minute inverse, maybe then, yeah, right? Like if we can chill down here, that'd be cool. But if it just keeps kind of rounding over, not loving it. Not loving it. Yeah, ES is pushing, NQ is kind of struggling still. YM's kind of strong. Yeah, YM's kind of strong. There you go for your pre-market high, essentially, that pre-market swing point. So that's the move. Cool. I don't like this entry right here. This was a much better entry that I would have preferred. It just wasn't on it. Like I wasn't in the mindset I wanted to get in that. So, but it is good to study these inversions right here off the open. This has been there's been 3 of these this week. 3 inversions right off the open that have worked. Monday was a bullish example, I believe. And then there was one on Tuesday. I guess there was kind of one yesterday, but I don't recall it as well. But I can think of this being the third pretty clear one. But yeah, if you just study the 9:30 open, they've been just kind of pushing it right off the gate. So that is also something to consider. So this trade is now, if you caught this, has your risk here to here. It's not a terrible trade. The problem is my entry would probably be right here, so it's like 1-to-1. Yeah, I don't like it. I would not execute that well. It's too choppy. My entry would probably be high up, probably do something wrong with it. I've seen 10 times better setups than this. There you go. You're getting your rollover just right now a little bit. I don't think even if it just kind of pulls back here, I'm fine with that. I'll let it kind of build some structure. I don't feel like this 2-3 candle move is all the day has. There's a lot of range for us to still trade through. So if we can just be patient, we can find a better setup for sure. Like absolutely we can. Worth noting this wick right here. Like this is actually a pretty interesting setup. Not like setup, but just price structure, if you will. Like it's swept down, right? And now it's like aggressively kind of pushing back. It's good to keep this in mind. When you see stuff that's a little different, like, it's kind of got my attention. Because yeah, the conventional sense, you see something like this like hangman, if that's what you want to call it. Typically, it's a reversal signal. You think weaker. I don't know. It looks a little strong. It looks a little strong right there. I would not be surprised if this thing got above VWAP, started pushing a little bit. Then you have NQ kind of pushing through that wick high. So you have some strength in the market. There's no doubt about it. And now it's 645. So we'll start to see if the market picks up some strength. Yesterday was the same, spike the high and the low, create inversions, boom, yeah. Yep. So how good are you guys at pattern recognition? That's really what you got to be asking yourself. Do you remember what happens in the day, or are you just too busy just hammering away at whatever you have in mind, like whatever trades you're taking? You need to remember what price is doing, especially in recent time, because ultimately it's going to kind of do the same thing for a couple weeks, couple months, whatever. It's repetitive. There's rotations, there's cycles, there's all that shit. There's seasons, seasonality. There's different tendencies for different markets as well. But if you can recognize the similarities in between like sessions, that's an opportunity, Like the way we're talking about this inverse, there's someone out there who's been nailing that all week. Just not me. So yeah, ES is basically at VWAP. NQ seems like it's a little bit above it. I still feel like this is not super strong stuff right here. So if we look at it objectively, take a minute. This is what we got. We've swept out this pre-market high. We're in a fair value gap, right? And we have these relatively equal lows. So what does that mean? Does that mean we're going to reverse? Could on news, right? We're in a downtrend. Somewhat, yeah, downtrend from this basically. Maybe we bottomed out here. So you have really just this point of interest. If we could get above here, maybe we continue. And if not, we sell off down to the lows. I don't think the lows is too common or too likely today. I really don't think that'll happen. But this inversion, if we break and retest it, I might be interested in that. To then trade towards like 57.40. We'll see. So it's an if then. If that happens, then I might have an idea. But that's about it. The number one way to make mistakes as a trader is just to force trades. It's just to try to take something every single day, every single minute, because there will be periods where there might not be a trade that works well. Maybe price moves, but that doesn't mean it's a trade. A trade is something that you can reasonably expect to work in your favor more often than not, and ideally with like very little hesitation, or you don't have to change the plan a lot. It's not like you have to force it. It should be something where you see an easy target and you're able to enter the trade, and then you move your stop when it gives you a signal to. Anything else is you're just trying to force an outcome, and you can't force trading. You can't. Anytime you try to force it, you will take a step backwards. It will not work. I don't know anyone who's done this by brute force. It's finesse. Trading is finesse. But, there's a reason why prop firms exist. It's because majority of traders cannot sustain themselves to be disciplined. Like, they cannot operate that way. They can't stay patient, and they blow accounts. And days like FOMC, specifically FOMC, CPI, traders blow so many accounts because they can't just simply say, you know what, I'm not going to trade today, or I'm going to do very little. They'll trade all freaking day. And it's just like, what are you doing? There's probably someone out here who's been right about the move up, tried chasing it the whole time and got burned the whole time and made no money, or maybe even lost money and got wicked out on some of these pullbacks. I hear it all the time. The only thing you can control is the shots you take. That's it. It's like your strength as a trader is built through restraint, by not doing. It's by inaction, by sitting still, by maintaining focus without having to press a button. That's trading. But I get it. I mean, I remember my first couple of months or whatever, I'd see a move like this, I'd be crying the whole time, like, oh man, how come I didn't get it? It's like, because there wasn't a setup for you. It's as simple as that. Anyone mad about the market moving without them should have bought 20 years ago. Like, oh no, you missed out on 20 years of upside. So it's a bad argument. Oh, I could have made more. I could have done this. No, you couldn't have. Maybe one day. But right now, all you can do is what makes sense to your strategy. All you can do is follow your edge. That's all you should do, honestly. Anything outside that. Anything outside that is just nonsense. You're hoping for a miracle. No one's going to come and just give you 20 grand. Yeah, just buy 20 years ago, bro. You're not going to get 20 grand just because you want it. You have to take good trades. There's no point in holding for miracles. I spent too much time in the beginning of the year aiming for huge targets, and I'm like, dude, I should have just been way more efficient with managing the upside. I gave back way too much shit. Yeah, see? 100%. See, Mike gets it. What did I say? Same thing. I expect it to go higher. I don't think it's going to take the low. You know, we wanted it to go higher, so it's good. It's cool. We saw it, the move we wanted. It's a good habit. It's a good habit. Reading price well is a great habit. Whole point of sitting on here and talking the whole time is to show you that you don't have to be doing stuff the whole time. You'll see your setup and it will be obvious. Maybe sometimes it takes weeks, right? I know there's a lot of bullish traders there's a lot of people I talked to recently that like are getting completely hammered. I'm like, wow, like that's, I've heard some stuff lately. I'm like, I'm doing amazing then. Like compared, it's just like, wow. But it's because people want to force an outcome. And the more you try to force something, like you have no idea how low trading can take you if you don't follow a system. There's people out there. I heard someone, I don't know the person, but obviously I just heard the stat. There's someone who reset an account like 30 times yesterday. Straight to funded 30 times. How the fuck does that ever make sense? And it's because people are acting on emotion. Yep, it's a lot of money right there. It's a lot of money for pride, right? So it's always those sinful behaviors that are going to make you kind of burn through money. Oh, I got to prove myself. Oh, I want more money. Like, what the fuck? What's a difference? $200-300 really going to change your life? Like, let's be real. But instead of just settling with the $200-300 loss, they blow $2-3 grand of their actual money. Yeah, typically that's the case. All this stuff comes from discipline. If you're not disciplined, you're not going to do well. You will not do well. We've now seen, almost, 5-minute candles higher. No setup for me. No trade for me. I think there will be a pullback. Maybe, right? I'm better off with that type of trade. I don't chase momentum. Same thing what I was saying yesterday or a couple days ago when it's maybe Monday. I think maybe Monday. Where it's just selling off all crazy off the open. It's one of those days, but I'm not going to chase it. Yeah, I can see it. We have 5 minutes, 6 minutes till news. So the idea is we just remain patient until then, see what happens. Maybe we get some sort of washout. That'd be nice. And then we can look for some sort of sweep of one of those internal lows coupled with like an inversion, nice little entry signal, then maybe target like 30, 57.30 or something. 57.31's a daily open. So I agree with you. It looks a little weak, or not weak, but just maybe like it's slowing. But I also think it's kind of just waiting for news. The 5-minute looks funny, and that's all I'm staring at in front of me. It's just the 5-minute and the 15. 15 you can argue is a change in state. But yeah, this is a trade where I know in the past, like this is stuff that I'd be like obsessed with chasing. It's just stupid. They're just dumb trades sometimes. Let's be real. I don't need to buy it up here. This thing's probably going to pull back to here, or maybe it comes into here, maybe into this area. We got all of this. We got all this 15-minute gap. We can pull into the 15-minute gap, form some sort of low, and then still target like the 5730s. I'm perfectly fine with that. To me, that's an easier clear-cut target. Because with this, it's like, oh, I could get in here, and then I'm out here. I probably get wicked out, like, or something. I probably do something wrong in this range. Let's be real. It's not exactly like clean cut. I'll just put it this way. It don't look like none of the trades I'm taking on my Instagram. It looks like none of those setups, none of the hundreds, if not maybe 1,000 at this point, screen recordings I have of trades. I have a style. I have a brand. When it comes to the setups I take, I try to make them look pretty uniform. And that's because the more standardized your process is, the better your outcomes will be. However, this was money right here. That was money down there. Oh yeah, that's true. I'm up like $300 from Asia or whatever. So that's a good point. Kind of forgot about that. Yeah, I'm doing chill. I'm all right from Asia. I caught a banger. I should be up. Yep. Yeah, that's clean down there. But yeah, Asia caught like 40 points, 5 micros. I should be up 360, but I took a $60 stop. And then the same setup was still valid, so a little too tight. Then I had I put another $60 of risk on, so like 5 hours or some shit. It's all good. Little opening range break. 1 minute ORB. Definitely gonna get away from trading Asia soon though. Probably today and not trade it. Got shit to do. So we got 3 minutes till 10 a.m. expecting some sort of volatility on the news. NQ is still relatively weak compared to ES. ES is obviously looks like it's pushing new highs, but you got to remember that final push of a high is eventually going to form a wick. In any reversal, you got to understand that. When price is kind of stabbing higher, that's going to give you that rounded top. So it just depends where we close in comparison to that, but always keep that in mind. Trading's the opposite of a job. If you sit here and don't do anything, it's not being unproductive. It's simply waiting for something that's very obvious to you. If you make it a habit of just chasing this because you need money, it's like you're going to lose it just as quick. There's been really no displacement in this. This is not a range I really like trading. 58, you're starting to see it pick up a little. YM, though, has been on a tear. YM's probably gave a setup, to be honest. Yeah, you could argue this 1 minute gap right here is decent. So the 1 minute gap, you get it tested right here, and then it tested it again. So that's back to what I was saying with it will often give you an entry twice. So you get right here as an entry, then even here. This is a really good trade. That's obviously, I don't think the view up. It's a little higher, but yeah, good trades. Looks like, yeah, look at this 4-hour candle. Okay, well, now we're talking. So now we're talking. Look at this. MES, 4-hour. Now we're talking. So remember that 5,800 level we had? Draw it out on here. Now this makes more sense. So from here to here would be the next move at some point. I like that a lot. I'm not saying buy here, obviously, but I'm saying I like the framework. We're doing what I hope we would do, holding as a higher low. Didn't get my entry here. Hard for me to get involved here. This is just sidelined. Now we wait for news. This would have maybe worked. It's just not the trade I like. View up's a little higher. A little too congested, but just feeling it out. Main goal this morning was wait for 10 a.m. and we've got a trend into 10 a.m. So we'll see what happens. Maybe you get a continuation, a little silver bullet. Basically nothing. Good news. Back to the daily open almost. Very happy with the 4-hour structure. Very happy. We're above the daily fair value gap as well. Back to the daily open. So we'll definitely watch this. See now how it's starting to really expand? We'll observe if we can see a fair value gap form right here for a little pullback. I understand it's extended, but now it's like the sentiment's changing at this point to me. That's how I'm seeing it. It's a big expansion on all products. So I'll be watching this right here. 26 to 34, so I'll do like 3 or something. 4. You want to see if that's going to hold. Then the idea would be target something up here, 58s. $7 points, yeah. The daily opens like right here as well. So daily open. There's a good amount of confidence in this area. You'd want to see it hold. So far, so good. Got inversions right here on the 15 as well. Okay, let's see if we get a pullback into this gap. If it just breaks away, that'd be a little annoying. But not uncommon today. It's just been kind of breaking away from gaps without filling shit. So I'm not going to chase it. If it doesn't come into my entry, I'm not going to chase it. There's nothing I could do. I'd want to see it come into here, give me some sort of swing low, and then I can buy it as it breaks above. That's the idea. But there's no world where buying this is a good trade. There's just not. Not to me. Not based on any setup I've ever documented long term. So either you trade your setup or the market will trade you. Really. It's going to try to make you do things, but ultimately you're the one holding the mouse, so no one to blame. Asia high right here, 57.60. So it's not unheard of for it to just pull back into something like this. It's a common trade. However, I don't think today is common. You know, I've seen a lot of these left unfilled, and I'm just like, all right, I guess we're doing something different this year. I don't think 2024 would really ever do this shit. Like ever. Maybe twice, 3 times. So you get the swing high right here, hopefully. Then you see the pullback, get a little confirmation, a little mini breaker, and then you can target the 57.60. So this level right here would be amazing. We just got to give it time to work. You got to trust the process. 5-minute closure looks good. See some internal movement. But I don't think I want to buy this as it touches. I think I want to wait for it to form some sort of swing low, and then I'll look to trade it to the upside. Maybe I'll be happy with 57.50 depending on how strong the entry is. So that's my game plan. If it holds this gap up here, I'm not doing it. Not trading this. Won't do it. I need this one. I'm not desperate to take this trade, so therefore I'm willing to be patient. Yep. You gotta kind of understand when the market's doing shit like this, it wants you to chase. And eventually, when enough people are in position terribly, then it will reverse. It's bait. It's all it is bait. It's gonna bait you into making bad decisions. So I agree. It is kind of insane looking at this 5-minute and not being able to be positioned. There's so many geniuses who caught that, and it's like their first big trade ever, and they're like, "Hey, mom, look, I did it." And then they can't ever do it again. You just won't get every move. You're just not gonna. It's unrealistic to think you're gonna get every move. Your system won't get every move. Your personality won't see every move. This is a trade I can't really see too well. $10.40. Okay. Guess we're just taking that fucking tiny gap. All right. Well, looks like I'm not getting anything today. I'll just settle with that. I'm cool. The last thing I'd want to do is buy something that I don't really think is a good trade and then have it roll over, because then I'll be annoyed that I didn't listen. Dollars made does not outweigh headaches avoided. Headaches avoided by far will win long term. Yeah, I'm going to give it like 10 more minutes. If we don't get into that gap that I want, then I'm not taking a trade. I'll just lock the account. Chill out. Yeah, 200 points on NQ. No entry. NQ didn't even give you the fair value gap entry. You know what? This is like not ideal. Like I can sit here and kind of think, did I potentially miss something? It's like, no, because it's not giving the entries that it typically will. It's not pulling back into the gaps. It's just leaving them, which you don't normally like to see in a trend. You want to see pullbacks. You want to see pullbacks. So when it doesn't do that, it's a little suspect. 5-minute candle closing in 15 seconds. We give it like 10, 20 more minutes, then I'm done. No need to sit here all day. No need to force a trade. It's always another day to trade. So, all right, now we have this 5-minute gap. So we want to observe how we're going to trade into here, especially into the daily open. I'd want to see the daily open respected. I really think this 1 minute gap is the gap of choice. I truly do. I don't see why this one would be left open. It's got great location on many different elements. You know, we're coming out of that daily inversion right there. You get this 15-minute inversion. So I do think this is going to be reached for. What up? What up? How you doing? If this fucking thing does not... Yeah, 100%. It's been dog shit. If this thing does not pull back into this gap, I'm done for today. Like, we're just going to not pull back into that gap. NQ it didn't test 2 of the opening gaps. Like, just fucking stab into that and, like, then we'll be cool. You know, so do the thing I've seen happen over and over many times. That would be nice. Like this one right here. That'd be cool. If not, we're all right. We don't need it. Yeah, happens. Happens. I mean, good job for at least taking a shot, right? You can't ever get mad about trying something. If you think it's going to work, if you have reason to think it's going to work, take that shot. 100%. 100%. There's nothing you can do. I take trades. I'm like, I'll take it. I'm like, that's a good trade. And then it doesn't work at all. And I'm like, that's still a good trade. So it helps build confidence, especially if you're like, you know what? No, this is a good setup. Maybe I just didn't have the best risk management or this or that. It's always one thing you could do better, but yeah, take your shots. Yeah. 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 I mean, there's just a lot of things you'll learn, especially if you go through and do like some back testing. It's not like, oh, I need to see the setup work. It's like, no, you'll see the weird like quirks of setups where it's like, yeah, test it twice, or maybe it takes this amount of candles. That's at least what I've started to realize. I've never really done it besides like recent. NQ tapped into the 5 minute. You know what? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I'm just joking, but yeah. Like I want to see it into the 1 minute because the 5 minutes basically high of day. Like let's not pretend it's not high of day. It's a 5 minute gap. Like yeah, by like what 20 points, it's a pullback. To me, it just feels very trappy because look at the 5 minute. We have a little doji, and what's the NQ look like at the 5? Yeah, I mean NQ is into. You're right. Fuck. Well, how big is that stop? 30, 70 points. You want to take it? You want a 70-point stop? Listen, man, you can take a 70-point stop. I'm good. I'm good. That's for the big boys. I can't do that shit. Yeah, 100%. So, well, the good thing is we can just kind of play it safe today. You know, we don't have to overdo it. If we don't see any setups that make sense, then fuck it, whatever. There's nothing you can do. Live to trade another day. Like Mike said, it's not like the market is all that great right now. It's been kind of dog shit, honestly. I've traded many years, and a lot of the people I know have traded just as long or longer than me. They're like, I've talked to people that are like losing their ass right now, and I'm like, wow, this year surprised me with how much people have lost. Like it really has. It surprised me. Yeah, dude, it's fucking, yeah, literally. I feel that. Yeah, I should be up so much more, but I'm not. So it's like you see it. I'll take some trades and it's pretty inconsistent this year. Super inconsistent this year. Hundreds, no joke. Yeah. I'll take it. Yeah. Yeah, this year's it's been crazy. I was talking to a guy, he's like, yes, I'm like, I was talking to a psychologist. I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm like, it's crazy. I'm like, yeah, let me fucking talk to that guy. I'm like, it's crazy to think how much traders have struggled this year specifically, when I thought this was going to be fucking smooth sailing. Wrong. Dead wrong. This is the year to get fucking taken out back and shot. Yeah, literally 100%, 100%. February is just like, geez, what happened? And tariffs. Every single person that has struggled this year that I've talked to, they've basically said, like, they're just too bullish all the time. They're just too bullish. And I agree. They're like, I'm too optimistic. I'm like, yeah, fucking same, dude. So we're tagging into this 5-minute gap right here. Let's see if we get into here. I'm not going to buy it on the first candle test. So I'll wait for a swing low to form, and then I'm going to target something like, I don't know, 57.50. That'll be the trade I want to take. If I can't get that perfectly, I'm not going to take it because I feel like being a fucking princess today. I don't want to force anything. So I had to be overly patient. I'll do it. Fucking. No, we don't pull back anymore. We just test the 5-minute gaps. It's the bane of my existence. Like, shallow pullbacks, I fucking hate. Because this stuff, when you're just so used to buying these shallow pullbacks, and then a real pullback shows up, then what are you gonna do? This ain't no pullback. I'll wait for a real pullback. In this scenario, like lately, it just means you mistrade, so whatever. Yeah, I know, right? Just fucking whatever. Yeah, Trump fucked everything up this year. Honestly, I was like, I've been talking to friends. I'm like, dude, this market's gonna make some traders into Democrats for sure. It's like, I'm like, I guess I didn't realize the value of a president that didn't really say anything or do anything all that much. It's kind of chill, right? Instead, we got like this just. I don't know. Maybe they lose 100K. Let's see how you feel. I'm just like, yeah, no, I feel you. I get you. But obviously, it's like you look back to, I don't even know, like 4 months ago, like, fuck. Like last year, November, killing it. Fucking just not this year. Even December, I'm like, last December was pretty chill. It's pretty chill. Yeah, I know. Well, for sure, it will get better. For sure. We just got to survive until then. What's up, Speedboat? Down Jones for sure this year. Down Jones. Yeah, I live in California, so obviously I don't vote. I don't care. It doesn't matter which way. It doesn't matter what opinion I have. It doesn't make a difference. Oh no. Like, there's people out here that are like, if you voted, I fucking hate you, and all this like crazy stuff. I'm like, how smart are you? I'm like, yeah, people have like imaginary hate for people. I'm like, bro, I stayed at home. Why would I leave my house to go wait in line with other people? No, I'm not gonna do that. Makes no sense for me. Even if I disagreed or agreed, I don't care either. What the fuck? What's the difference? It don't matter. I mean, obviously it matters, but I'm just saying for me to vote, it doesn't fucking make a difference. If it was like, well, we need every fucking vote, maybe, but it really doesn't make a difference. Oh no. No, I legitimately had people that are like, they put out posts on their story. They're like something about voting, and then they're like, I fucking hate you. And I look, I'm like, why are you unfollowing me? I'm like, what? But people just like they snitch on themselves with their opinions. I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I post memes. Let's be real. I post memes. Stuff's funny to me. That's about it. But yeah, no, I agree. I do think things will get better. And it's like, when you think of a yearly profile, you would assume Q1 would have to go lower for the rest of the year to trade higher. Yeah, I hear 100% catching strays. You'd have to assume we're going to trade weak into the open of the year for us to be bullish into the end, because we had to form a low early in the period of time. Same thing with a candlestick, right? The wick forms one way first, and then it closes the other way towards the end of the period. So if we're not doing that, yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. Open, low, high, close. Money. I'm not doing it. Yeah, I'm not taking that. I'm not doing that. Yeah, you have midnight open at like 57, 56. Yeah, what a ridiculous structure so far, though. Just up. It's up. I mean, this is just not a trade I can get in right here. It's hard for me. I need at least this, and they really just didn't give it to us, so it's okay. Sometimes stuff like this happens. You got to still remember where we're at on the daily. We're inside a prior day. So I don't know. I think I've said this probably 20 times on stream, but anytime you do have an inside day, you are subject to some weirder shit going on. And I would describe today as weirder shit. Yes, it was a clean move on paper, like it moved one way without any pullbacks. But in reality, for real traders, it's hard to get in because the habits or what you had to do to trade today, if you do that every single day, it will typically bite you in the ass. Like the fact that this gap right here is just left unfilled and we barely tested this, yeah, that's great. But the idea is if you're in here, it could potentially still go here and then go up. And it's like, then you have to risk here. And I don't know, maybe you just fucking buy and risk down here and you're fine. Inversion was great, but all of this is really hard to get involved in. And then this being left unfilled completely, insane. So just a hard trade in general. It went higher, sure. But, for all the reasons I listed, it's something that, 1,000 cons, 100%. Yeah, start dancing, dude. It's just like, it's the reality is like, you can't fucking find a trade if there's no trade for you. Start yelling like what? Patrick Weiland or whatever. Trading's boring. The only thing that's entertaining is like how insane this makes me sometimes. That's for sure. But, it's what if you're not speed running, getting gray hair while trading, then what are you doing? Mood, yeah, literally, it's just. So yeah, now you're getting that push higher from that little fair value gap. It's not terrible. You have midnight open right there, like 57, 57. So I would think that'd be a decent target. It's one of those days. You use that 5-minute gap, and it's like you have that big risk. Right here, you're talking 12 points on that. Just to get to right here. It's all good. There will be a cleaner day tomorrow, inside day break. That's a setup I actually really like. If we can hold this inside day, or even if we don't hold it, I like the continuation for tomorrow. Much better. So hard trade for me. There's nothing I can get involved in. Made my money in Asia, so that's cool. Gonna pretty much just do nothing the rest of the day then. Maybe look for a PM session pullback if we can get into like this swing low right here. But more than likely, I'll just kind of chill. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there. Good talks today. I mean, we're about to hit midnight open, so any sort of long targets, I mean, we've pretty much accomplished, just without us, of course, right? There's just been no real entry. You can argue here, but it's just not my favorite. I would have liked this lower one on the 1 minute. Yeah. No, it's just a VWAP. No, I don't use any crazy indicators. I just use the dots because it doesn't look like shit. See? I don't know why everyone likes their charts just to look terrible. It's like you just barely need to know where it is. It's like right there. Doesn't have to be huge. Maybe, right? Yeah, maybe. So I might check back in a little bit for that. But yeah, I'll probably just chill for now. I think call a stream. Anyone have any questions before we wrap up? We just hit midnight open, basically. Yeah, I'd say midnight opens right there. So that's the upside for me for right now. Tried with one con for fun. Did you have fun? I mean, I could have. I just want to like. Here's my thing. If I'm gonna put on a trade, I want to hit it with something. I don't want to just like baby it. So I want to hit it with like as close to a mini as I can with ES. But if there's no setup for it, I'm like. Anyways, good stream today, guys. I'll get this uploaded. If you have questions, hit me up. I'll be in the Discord. Yeah, good way to stay safe, I guess. I mean, fuck, what a move without really any entry for me. So it is what it is. All right, peace out, guys. Later.